What's going on, everybody? Non here, and I've been waiting and dying to do this video because one of the things I've talked about quite a bit was, the nomenclature or the nuance between reprint and restock. People kind of use it synonymous, but they mean very different things, and they send in very different tells. So, for example, a restock generally you'll have the first wave of product and then they hold some back, which is all printed in the original print run, and then they'll release it to market 6 weeks, 8 weeks, couple months later. Um, Wizards does the same thing. A reprint is all of the initial print stock is in market, it's gone, and now we feel the need to print a new batch of whatever product. So, um, everybody on YouTube, for the most part, was talking about how this was a reprint coming of Prismatic Elite trainer boxes. And again, like I said, people kind of interchange the words. Um, I don't because they mean very different things to me. Um, so that being said, this could have gone either way. If this was truly a reprint, then it explains why we didn't get the second drop of the Prismatic Evolution um Pokemon Center ETB initially because they didn't exist. And for those of you who don't know, we had a big drop yesterday. We had other drops today. And it seems like there's some product that's coming out to market to probably try to soften the market a little bit. Now, on the flip side, you have the big box stores who are now selling for way above MSRP, which is the best way to stomp out scalping. If you can't buy the shit cheap and make money flipping it, scalping's dead. So I think that's a net positive. Um, in the long run, it's going to suck for some people in the short run, but it is what it is. So if it was a reprint again, it would explain why the we didn't get the Prismatic Evolution Pokemon Center drop on release day. Would also explain that if the printing presses were going burn nonstop, why it appeared that there were so many Destined Rivals ETBs that sold when they dropped the first time and then they dropped the second time, or at least the sale window was open for multiple hours per se. 30 minutes the first time, but the second time was open for a couple hours. And to be fair, the drop yesterday was also open for a couple hours and today was open for a couple hours. So it seems like the quantity that they're pushing through Pokemon Center for these specialty products is increasing, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, if this were just a restock, and what we saw with 151 is they had the initial release of ETBs, and again, I'm just talking about ETBs because I want to simplify the conversation. All the ancillary stuff is a little bit different, but with ETBs, they had their initial release to the market in September of 2023, and this is oversimplifying things, but just assume you have 100% of the print run up front. 70% gets released, running up to release date, and then the other 30% comes kind of, end around after the fact, months later. And then I believe it was April or May 2024, there was a second wave of ETBs that came out to market. All part of the initial print run, etc. So that has been the status quo forever. And what was interesting to me and why I've been done to answer the question is if the status quo is changed, then you can't put as much weight in past performance and what the Pokemon company's done in the past. Excuse me, and yes, still under the weather, but it's mono. It's going to take at least another 6 weeks, so I got that looking to look forward to. So we got some of our first cases in today, and what I want to point out, and again, this is the only picture in the video. This isn't flashy. It's not a cartoon. Not for retail sale before January 17th, 2025, which means this was printed before the release date. This was part of the initial print run. So this is, in fact, not a reprint. Pokemon Company didn't magically fire up the print runs for new ETBs. Didn't happen. These were all printed as part of the initial print run. They were held back, and this is the second wave now coming to market, which has always happened in the ordinary course of the distribution cycle. So what we're seeing here, this is normal. There is nothing, no anomaly, nothing different. What this tells me is, and this is an educated guess, I don't know for sure, the reason why we didn't get the um, Pokemon Center Prismatic Evolutions drop the day of release is they weren't ready to ship. And what that means is they probably had extended the print window, or they were behind on the initial print window where they didn't have everything printed before release date. So they had to extend it out weeks, month or two, until the point where they were ready to ship them. Because I ordered mine yesterday. It was the first time I ordered them because I screwed up the first time and thought I had more time than I did. They've already shipped. So I ordered them yesterday. They're shipped today. So the product is there ready to go. So again, I think it was just the fact that the product was delayed. It wasn't quite ready to ship. And they were working on Journey Together, so they had all that stuff as well. Now Journey Together, they had ready to go. But with these specialty sets, what we know from the past is they tend to print a lot more specialty sets than they do regular sets when it comes to Pokemon Center ETBs. In fact, if we go back to early Scarlet and Violet, I think Paldean Fates was like 135,000 units. Theoretically, it's just what the data scraper says. But it makes sense relative. And then you look at Obsidian Flames, it was like 75,000, something like that. Or the two different temporal forces were like 45,000 or 42.5 for Paradox Rift. So you're looking at almost a 50% increase, if not higher, in print runs versus a standard set. So what this tells me is everything is status quo. Nothing has changed. They haven't changed how they're printing, at least up until now. And this is backward looking. So anything they're printing now that we haven't seen yet, all bets are off. But this is 100% confirmation that we did not get a reprint. This is the second wave of the initial print run. So there's nothing to see here other than you're going to see some product come to market. And quite honestly, this is probably the best price you're going to get for ETBs. Now you're going to see big box stores randomly drop them on and off. Good luck getting them unless you're running bot. I've had no luck with anybody at this point. Not Walmart, not Target. I don't even pay attention to Best Buy because the website's garbage. GameStop, I don't even deal with that. I'm an adult. So, that's that. If you want to stock up, now's the time. The other challenge here is the Pokemon companies trying to get the cost of the price down, presumably. Obviously, we don't know that for sure, but you can imply that. Pack cost is now over $13.50 because they keep putting these products out and nobody's opening them. Like the EV pouch, nobody's going to open that thing. You might open one and you buy two or three, you put it on the shelf. Nobody's going to buy these ETBs because everybody's seen what's just happened with ETBs, or nobody's going to open them. So unless they make a concerted effort to start selling bundles, the pack price is just going to continue to go up. And a lot of the sealed stuff is just going to pile up and pile up and pile up. And you're effectively going to continue to raise the bar because the value expectation on this stuff is going to continue to go up because nobody's going to sell for a lower rate. There's no race to zero because there's no liquidity crunch for people who own this. With the product that I have, I might sell some in a Discord. I might not. I don't have to. If I don't like the price point, I know the product's not going down. It's certainly not going to MSRP because I think my average price from distribution on this wave was somewhere between $75 and $80. And again, that's blended across everything. It's hard to sell at MSRP if you pay 25 or 50% over. Just pro tip to all those business geniuses on PokeTube out there. So anyway, I thought this was important to get the information out. It's not a reprint. It is a standard restock. Nothing to see here. And the 151 poster collections, buy them while they're cheap. I'm sure we're going to get some more 151, but I don't know if there's going to be the ability to accumulate volume. It certainly not at a $9 pack price. So anyway, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord. We got a bunch of sales coming, and have a good night.